Right. So the second question in Pure Mathematics, Western Province 2025, third term test paper. Right. So let's look at this one. So what is this? This is the absolute value graphs. So this is little bit different from what you normally get. There's a linear one, but there's a quadratic one also. So let's first draw the quadratic one. So when you are drawing quadratic ones, do it like this. Forget about the absolute value sign. Just draw the quadratic. So we are supposed to draw this one without the absolute value sign. This quadratic. So if you can factor it, it's best to factor it. Then it's easy to draw. So this one you can easily factor into x minus 1 and x minus 3. Right. So then, right, do this. So draw it with a pencil because we want to erase some part of it. Right. So this crosses the x-axis at 1 and 3. And the y-intercept is what? Substitute x equals 0, so 3. So y-intercept also mark 1, 2, 3. Right. And a quadratic shape is what? Parabola. And parabola is symmetric. No? So this crosses at 1 and 3. So the vertex would be at 2 because it has to be symmetric. No? So the vertex would be at 2, x equals 2. And find the y value when x equals 2. What is that? Substitute 2, so minus 1. So the vertex is 2 comma minus 1. So you have to figure that out. So now let me draw this. So minus 1. So there's the vertex. Goes through like that. Right. So this is the quadratic graph. Now you want to draw the absolute value graph. No? So then what you need to do is this part below the x-axis, you have to reflect it along x-axis up. So like that, and then erase the below part. Right. So that will give you the absolute value graph. So this point is at 1. Right. So this is our y equals absolute value of x squared minus 4x plus 3 graph. Right. Okay. That one is done. Then next, you have to draw what? You have to draw the linear one. Absolute value of x minus 2 plus 1. So where is the vertex? X equals 2, and when x equals to y value is what? 1. So the vertex is here. First figure out that vertex is here. 2 comma 1. Right. Then figure out where is the y-intercept. So put x equals 0. So minus 2, absolute value of minus 2 is plus 2. So plus 2 plus 1 is 3. So it will go through there. So now just the V shape. Linear means V, no? V-shaped graph, and it will be symmetric. So because of both graphs are symmetric, this point should be obvious. This point is at where? This intersection point should be, this is at 0, 2. So from symmetry, this has to be at 4. So mark that because the intersection points are important for the next part. Right. So there. So this is the second graph. So the graphing part is done. Right. So then we have to solve a inequality. Right. So let's see, from the graph we have an inequality now that we can find the answer for, which is this one. Plus 3 is greater than or equal to x minus 2 plus 1. This one I can write it in the factored form. So I will write it in factored form because this has two factors now. That's why I'm going to break it into two factors like this and move the x minus 2 absolute value term to this side. Right. Okay. Then this one I can write as this way also. Right. So, right. For this one, we know what are the solutions. So this one is when this quadratic curve is larger than the linear one. So black curve has to be higher than this green part. So when does that happen? When x values are less than 0, when x values are greater than 4, and there's a one point you have to keep in mind. This is equal sign is also there. No? So this is true when x is less than or equal to 0, or x is greater than or equal to 4, and when x equals 2. That point also you have to keep in mind. At 2 also you have to, this point 2 also you have to include because equal sign is there. Right. So, right. So now we have to use this answer to get the answer for this inequality. Right. So what should I put instead of x to get this inequality? I can replace x with what? X plus 1. Then I get what? So let me give this a name. Replace x with x plus 1 in star. What happens? I get absolute value of x. Absolute value of x minus 2 minus absolute value of x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 1. So then the answer for this one would be what? X plus 1 is less than or equal to 0. X plus 1 is greater than or equal to 4. And x plus 1 is equal to 2. So then x has to be what? Less than or equal to minus 1 or greater than or equal to 3. And this single point also you have to include x equals 1. So that is the final answer for this question. Right. So this one you have to first write it in this form and use our graph to get the answer for that inequality. Then use a substitution to get the given inequality, and we get the answer for the given inequality. Right.